Fam, what's going on? Give me a second while I get everything set up here.
If I speak up, I'll just be killed. And I'll be one less when the president's stupid rich and the country's in dumb debt. It's clear they were instrumental in orchestrating a tune to rock us to sleep with a trumpet. So I march to the beat of my own drum in harmony. They try to hold me down with their whole thumb, harming me. Give me hell, I give it back like it came with a warranty. I'm sick, so I give them a dose of their own pharmacy. The whole world clearly with my eyes closed, but I'm totally blind when they wide open. The media, they keep feeding us lies. And if you subscribe, your belief will apply the blinders on your mind. It's fake outside. I'm too awoke. I grew up, true adult. I used to preach to the mass with a book from rulers, so but now they compare what I say to Buddha quotes. They making it their newest post. Seems to be a new approach. Okay, Kevin about to do it big. Look in the mirror and I barely know who he is. But I trust him though, told him, yo, I'm riding with you. You don't seem to have it all, but hey, go on, do what you do. Like I'ma keep it 100. This thing I know what is true, and that's that you can't figure out in the world how you gonna lose. For that reason alone, I continue walking with you, and that is all I know to do when I truly don't have a clue. If I speak up, I'll just be killed, and I'll be one less when the president's stupid rich and the country's in dumb debt. It's clear they were instrumental in orchestrating a tune to rock us to sleep with a trumpet. So I march to the beat of my own drum in harmony. They try to hold me down with their whole thumb, harming me. Give me hell, I give it back like it came with a warranty. I'm sick, so I give them a dose of their own pharmacy. They stab snakes. It's written on the wall, Caduceus. We were there first. It's written on the wall. Could you see us? They say no one knows. Too late to the party, I suppose. But why they pharaohs look like Owen Wilson? Broken nose, they lied and got you hook, line, and sinker. That's real power. I pass on my passion when I pass on. That's willpower. Know this. You spinning your wheels trying to stop me. This is not my first time around. Watch me. See, I was James Brown in my past life. This is true. Papa's got a brand new bag, but with slicker moves. Mansa Musa a rap, I'm giving Jews, but y'all stay ducking the gold, Mr. Scrooge, I've been lied to, surrounded by faux pas. From my deadbeat daddy to the founding fathers, the faux pas. Had me praying to Sky Daddy. Learned there was no God, so I guess that makes Yahweh, Another faux pas, my life's a joke. I learned while I would smoke from the burning bush when I inhaled that I could be the most high. Well, them seeds I plant today, don't jack up your beanstalk. You might bring the giant down, that's a fee-fi-fo ball. Listen close and you'll know why. Take my kindness for weakness, try robbing my fees and catch 4-5 from the 4-4. Bye. The closest I come to burning inhale is smoking weed in an underground Hawaiian club. Aloha. With low eyes, peace in my life back. It's puzzling, it's tougher than leather, and I admit it. I'm tussling with the old me, it wants to control me and muzzle me, and not to mention my conviction. I can feel my feathers ruffling. It's tough. I've had enough of this suffering. They say we moving forward, but it feels like we buffering. Are you offended? I suggest you get some Sensodyne. You say you want it straight when I give you a shot of genuine. Wow. Say you want it straight when I give you a shot of genuine. Am I homophobic? I'm too homeless phobic to notice, but I'm claustrophobic. The small mind gets avoided. They under spells, hocus pocus. Everything's labeled as phobias. In that case, black folks got economics of phobia.
Everybody thinks we're mother. Who are they to judge us? Mother, mother, simply call me sweet where I hair long. Ooh. No, 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 no.
Yo, the indigenous population Inflation is way out of control. We gotta find a way to subtract from actual souls. Our cops doing their numbers, yeah, they clapping their folks. Still, we gotta find a way that they won't actually know. So, find a lovely simple, give them something to dance to. What had the people dumbing? They'll never see it coming. Cook up the latest cancer, slip it in they chicken, slip it in they liquor. Kill a nigga quicker. Autism vaccine all in your baby sip cup. That's word life. You can smell it all in they hiccups. Black versus white. So we all keep a fist up. This the militia. I gotta draw you a picture. Miss Silly made that lemonade. Poured from the pitcher. Poor mister got you all twisted. You caught listening. TV frequency signal to the bottom. Got you thinking your problem is Trump or Hillary Bottom. Contribute to the saga. Raise and build a new Sodom. Gomorrah. I record for sons and daughters. They took away your freedom. So any brother saying that he freedom, a spiritual slave and proud to be one. So who are you to judge me? Who are you to touch me? Got our women looking at us like, who are you to love me? The Willie Lynch factor still got you years after. Dead pastor, lying to turn tears to laughter. Civilize you, made it forbidden to read it, gave you a Bible, gave you an idol, gave you a title for their survival, made you a rival, so you won't die on. Federal Reserve wondering what I'm gonna do. Harriet Tubman 20s looking like an IOU. I got the lowdown. Mama think I'm cuckoo or the voodoo. Have I what I say now? You gotta Google like who knew. Forbidden scripture and rhyme is an infinite shine. Turn a criminal mind to the indigenous kind. These words is fine wine. What you hearing, you seeing. You can't put a timeline on a spiritual being. Manufacture disease and calling it medicine. Destroying your melanin, recording the evidence. So what you say to a brother who sleep in the kitchen? Got no reason to listen, cause his pieces is hitting. It's plain and it's simple. His chain and his wrist glow. Got food and bud, he just stayed with the tempo. Till Popo cocked the pistol and put it to his tempo. Pop him like a pimple with the rage of a pit bull.
So, family, peace and love. Thank everyone for coming in. I thought we was not gonna be able to have a show tonight, but we got everything straightened out. We had some technical difficulties, but we got everything back up. And if you guys could just bear with me for just one moment, let me get my chat up here. I know you've been bearing with me here for about 45 minutes, so I do appreciate everyone's patience, but we did have some technical issues, and we got them cleared up. So we will be having a show tonight. Great show. Got a special guest with us tonight, Queen Vanessa Dixon in the house joining this conversation. I'm going to bring her in a little bit later so she can introduce herself to the people. But I'm just going to get my chat up here really quickly. That way we can say hi to everyone that has come in. I'm out here on the West Coast. Y'all probably getting ready to go to bed. Y'all like, Rick ain't having no show tonight. The true fact, we back though. We in here. So I appreciate everybody for coming in, giving us your time and your energy. We're going to get this chat up and say hello to everyone and get Miss Dixon in here so she can make her introduction. All right, so let me see where we at with this. All right, so let me get that up. All right, so got my YouTube up here. Just want to say hello to everyone who's coming in. Oh, okay, we got a few people in here already. Already, let's see who we got in here. All right, and then also before I forget, I just want to thank everyone who made a donation last week. I didn't call you out, but the moderators did get to you. So I just want to acknowledge everyone who made a donation. I think Charles, I know Tim made a donation last week. I kind of forgot some people, so I do apologize for that. Just want to say hello to Kaylin, Nick Daniel, Y People, Inner Quest, Frankie D. Okay, Alaric. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. We got Angela, Marcus, Alexander Jackson, Royal Graphics, DMG, the poet. How you doing, Unc? All right, so we got Heavenly Sunshine, Terry. How's it going? All right, so No Name Rose. All right, so Lee Shine in the building on the moderation. Missing Roger, Tony, Brian. Peace and love, family. What's going on, Brian Caldwell? All right, so we got Michael Simmons. All right, Frankie D. All right, Michelle Sanders, Tim Thomas. How's it going? All right, so all right, what's up, Peaceless Shine? Let me get the Facebook up because I'm like, boy, that boy late. No, hey, listen, I'm not gonna say it's not my fault, but it's not my fault. Okay, all right. All right, so I'll be a little late sometime, but 40, like 30, 40 minutes late, that's a bit late, but we got it going. So we're going to have this conversation. We're going to have a good show tonight. We're going to have some fun. And let me get my situation up here. Okay, so while I'm setting everything up, which I almost got everything set up here, share the video. Share, like. Put it on everyone's page, okay? Friends, family, pastors, all right, teachers. Put it on everybody's page. All right. All right, so we got Facebook up here. We're just gonna say hello to the people, and then we're gonna bring in Miss Dixon so she can make her introduction, which she really don't need no introduction because I'm pretty sure everybody knows who she is already. But for those of you who may not have had the privilege to converse with the queen, we definitely gonna bring her in here. Okay, Carrie Lotion, Queen Hannah, how are you? All right, so we got Porter, we got Marvin, hello, Rosanna, always in the building. James Smith, okay, Leishan, always moderating on both pages here. Tyler, let's see, Nina, Malcolm, John, Tamika, hello, Carl. All right, so let's see who else we got in here. So this comments are coming in at the same time, so it's a little slow. Let me make sure I got it on real time. All right, we coming in here with the comments. All right, so let me say hello to a few more people in here. Jerome, okay. Hello, Cornelius, how you doing? Kenneth, Kevin, Aaron, Teresa, Shocking Shelly, what's going on? Jimmy, Derek, Tiger, Mark, is it Mark Anthony? Okay. All right, who else we got in here? All right, so it looks like we've covered everybody on Facebook. Okay, once again, thank you for your time. We're not going to try to keep you too late. We definitely going to get into this conversation. But before we kind of get into everything, I just want to bring in my special guest. So let me just work this magic here really quickly with this Skype and get our lady in here. Okay, all right. Two, 3, 2, 1. Here she is, folks. Miss Dixon in the building. Okay. I just gonna give you a moment to say hi, Vanessa, and say hello to the people, and then we just gonna get into this conversation. Okay.
Okay, I got you. Hi, everybody. I'm just a student here trying to learn. Ricky's gonna stop calling me Miss Dixon. That's what you're gonna stop doing. But Vanessa's cool. It's cool. So okay, we here. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. All right. So I do apologize, Queen. No disrespect. I'm from the South, so I call everybody Mister or Miss. So even people that's like younger than me, you know. So,
I know
yeah.
it's a southern
Okay, well,
thing.
well, Vanessa, we definitely gonna call you Vanessa. Okay, Queen Vanessa in the building. Okay,
You
no
need to
more,
say
no
my
more Miss.
government name.
Man,
He
okay.
said Vanessa Dixon is joining us. How you know I'm not
Okay.
still in that Christian closet, boy?
All right. Okay, so before I get started here, really quickly, okay, so we just want to always acknowledge ways that we can help our brother out and give to our brother. Of course, he has the GoFundMe, help defeat stomach cancer. Okay, we also got the Patreon at Kevin Wesley. Okay, reoccurring donation there, $2, $5, whatever you can afford. We got the Cash App, $ Kevin D Wesley 1, and then we got PayPal Kevin Wesley 1, and Be the Evolution. Okay, so I'm not rocking the Be the Evolution gear tonight. Okay, but Be the Evolution has winter gear, the hoodies, the Evolve hoodies. Definitely check those out, and then there's some other hoodies there on the website of array of different colors and sizes there for the little ones, and also for your spouses and your loved ones. So definitely check that out, bdevolution.org. Okay, so with the change in the weather, definitely want to support our brother there. Okay, so with that being said, we got the Earth Heart Global. Okay, um, Anitra Day, Anitra Ray Dotson is the young lady who made this shirt for me. Of course, begging for change. I am begging for change on YouTube, the number 4, and I'm Ricky Swink on Facebook. If you do not know who I am and wondering where is Kevin, he is still recuperating. So I'm here in his place until the King comes back. Okay, so before I get into the conversation, now the title of this show is, are pastors praying or praying? You know, like you stalking some prey. You know how the lion does when they in the high tall grass and they stuck for a minute and they just waiting for the right time to pounce on you and tear you apart and eat you up. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. It's a play on words. So we're gonna talk about pastors that we're gonna acknowledge those who are doing the right thing. Okay, I have no problem with pastors as long as they're preaching and teaching the people what they need to know, valuable information. I have no issue with it. But you have those out there who are manipulating, who are exploiting, who are cheating, who are preying on the community. So we're actually going to get into that, and we're going to get on the ones who just sit back and do absolutely nothing. They just live in comfort. They don't arouse any type of controversy or anything of that nature. So they are just as bad. Okay, so they may not be bad in a personal sense with what they're doing day by day, but the things that they teach, according to their book, you sometimes you got to put yourself in danger. You got to get out of that comfort zone. So we're going to talk about those as well. So before I get into that, I just want to touch on something that's going to kind of lead us into that conversation, and it kind of goes along the lines of what I was talking about last week when I was talking about your conscience being seared. Okay, so it made me think, because there's some points that I wanted to make last week that I didn't get a chance to make because I was more concerned about the Skype being set up and that working and functioning properly. But now we have that addressed, so the Skype is working. So the doors of the conscious community, they're open. Okay, the doors to awokeness are open. So if you feeling like you want to come out, if you feeling like you want to let your family and your friends know that you no longer subscribe to religion, that you no longer subscribe to this make-believe God, please hit me in my message in my inbox, and I will definitely send you the Skype link and let you tell your story. But the doors of the conscious community are open. Okay, so along with that, what I want to say is, with your conscience being seared, okay, I talked about last week about you hearing ridiculous things, you're reading ridiculous things, and it not affecting you at all. So your common sense is shaking you, is waking, is poking you, is pricking you, and it's trying to say, hey, this doesn't make sense. But what it led me to think about is, this book tells us to have a good conscience, towards God. Okay, so, but what about God having a good conscience towards you? Okay, so it shouldn't it also be in reverse? Shouldn't that also be reciprocated? That God should also, if you're gonna have a good conscience towards God and the things that you're doing, shouldn't your God have a good conscience towards you? When you're being murdered, when you're being raped, when you're being brutalized, shouldn't that affect him? Okay, shouldn't it be hard for him? Just like Jesus told Paul on the road to Damascus that it should be hard for him to kick against the pricks of his conscience. Okay, so shouldn't it be difficult and shouldn't it be hard for your God, for your make believe God, to kick against the pricks? Okay, when he see someone that he supposedly loves, that's going through so much trauma and going through so much pain that he doesn't intervene and relieve it. So he puts you through the pain, he puts you through the trauma, he puts you through the tribulations, and he's supposedly there to console you, but you know he's really not. So you have to think about that. So if you're supposed to have a good conscience towards God, why doesn't God have a good conscience towards you? And that's just something to think about, okay? So before I go too deep into it, Queen Vanessa, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Oh, can we hear? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Vanessa. Hold on. I don't think we can hear you. Give me a second.
I got you. You
Oh,
can
you
hear
you
me?
you you was muted. Okay.
That was on me. That was
All
on me.
right. No, it's good.
What's
It's
it
good. Go ahead.
supposed to? One of the things that got me away from Christianity was me thinking, how do I have more compassion than God? You know what I'm saying? It says in the Bible that we should treat our children a certain way, but the way the Father treats us. Now, if we treated our kids the way the Father, Sky Daddy, treated his kids, we probably wouldn't have no kids left in this world. It's what you said. We're supposed to have a consciousness towards compassion, but if we were to believe in this God, this Jesus character, as the leader in this compassion, we really wouldn't have much morality, much compassion, because God sure didn't have much. I mean, he was wiping people. I mean, he tried to make it up later by bringing in a Jesus character. They tried to write him in later to clean it up. But I mean, Jesus pretty much wasn't too compassionate either. I mean, think about the lady that came up to him asking, "Can you heal my daughter?" And he was like, "I'm not going to throw my pearls to the swine." He was only out for his people. His compassion wasn't there. So where's the example when you're a Christian? If it's not already in you and you claiming that hey, I was a Christian, I was born a Christian, which someone told me the other day, God, I felt God. Where's your compassion coming from? Is if it, show me, because it's not in his word.
Okay. Okay. All right. Those were some great points. Exactly. Okay. So it's always the reverse. God, this make believe God. I always call him the make believe God because I don't want to call him God. I always call him the make believe God because it's make believe. It's just a story. Okay. So I always think that you can never like you know he's a do as I say and not do as I do, type of parent. So that never works. You can never tell your child, don't. Well, you can, but you're being hypocritical. You see what I'm saying? And if you go through this book, just because God can, I just make believe God can do whatever He wants. No one holds Him to any type of standard at all. So and I just think that's just crazy. He holds you to the highest standard, but He doesn't hold Himself to any type of standard. So because we're not supposed to understand his mind. So before I go too deep into that, I actually kind of missed something here that I kind of want to go back to, and I kind of got lost in me. The show starting late, so I was kind of rushing some things. But I kind of just want to take a step back really quickly. Okay, and what I want to just point out is, and this is to anyone who may be listening to the show or who may be viewing the show or the stream. Um, Basically, one of my mottos is, I know everybody, if you've seen any of my videos, I always say, I'm never telling you what to think. Just ask that we start thinking. And then the only gods that we need is each other, and the only God that I need is you. I also have another saying, okay? One of my other sayings is, stop waiting for something to happen and make something happen. You see what I'm saying? So in your life, and this goes to kind of how me and Kevin and how I'm even talking to you right now, is because um, I've been on Facebook almost a year, social media almost a year. When I first came into contact with Kevin's group, I was watching Kevin on YouTube, watching Ray Hagen's on YouTube. I was in the comments, just making comments, hoping that Kevin would just even acknowledge one of my comments that I would make. So I went from that to hosting his show. You know what I mean? So, but the thing about it is, I didn't wait for something to happen. I didn't wait for the right moment. I joined this group. I joined. Well, I decided to get on social media because I felt like at that time I had something to say and I had something to add to the world. But the thing is, I made the video. Whether it was gonna get viewed by one person or however many people, I made the video, and here I am right now, speaking with you. And I didn't go study forever. I didn't think that I didn't know anything. I just used whatever information that I had, and I just did whatever it was that I wanted to do. And what I'm trying to say with this is, Kevin doesn't tell me what to say. He doesn't give me topics. He doesn't coach me. So he, without even knowing me personally, in a few, I guess the first show I actually did for him alone, he indicated that we were good friends, and I could truly say that I didn't, the way he expressed it, I didn't know Kevin felt that way about me. You see what I'm saying? So, but just him feeling the way that he felt about me, I was like, wow, this dude really like trusts me. You see, he has built this platform. He has an audience, and he has all these followers, and he would trust for him to trust me with that, not knowing if I'm going to say something wrong or if I'm going to mess it up and just pretty much destroy his audience. He trusts me enough to talk to you. He trusts me with his audience. He trusts me with his platform, knowing that I won't do anything detrimental to his name and detrimental to his brand. And that's a lot of trust for someone that you barely know. Okay, so my whole thing was that is we can't wait for something to happen. You just got to go out and sometimes make things happen. So if that can just give anyone the encouragement who is sitting back in the shadows, because this thing is not gonna work. It's not gonna take off. We know religion is too powerful. It's just too prevalent in the world for us to even make any type of dent in it if we're just gonna sit back because of whatever reasons we have. And I'm not trying to shame anyone. Whatever reservations you have, I'm pretty sure that it's for good reason. But if we're gonna bring this thing out, and if we're gonna make being conscious or being awoke or being aware, whatever you want to call it, more attractive to our young people, because those are the ones that we really need to save, then we have to be more attractive to whatever is going on in the church. Okay, we have to be more attractive than the dancing and the music and whatever it is that has these children's minds and their attentions in the church. So, and I think that gala that went on a couple weeks ago in Dallas, man, that it has to be that. It has to be something to that, or even bigger, because we have to be more attractive than the church, or we just never gonna free the minds of these young people. But my whole point with this is that you can't wait. Okay, we don't have time to wait. So take the courage, take that step. And then another thing with that is that goes along with what we're talking about right now is pastors praying on their congregation, or praying like a predator. Okay, you can't betray someone's trust. Okay, so Kevin trusts me with his platform, and I think by now he feels pretty comfortable that I would never do anything to betray his trust. So and I think that's very important. Okay, so I'm just gonna get off of that real quick and then kind of go back into the conversation here. And what I wanted to talk about in regards to, I guess, you having a good conscience towards God, and how that's going to tie in to what the topic of this show is that in that situation with Paul and Jesus on the road to Damascus. Okay, so I always make the point with people, there's so many great teachers in the world. Okay, I'll say Kevin. I'll say let's say young Pharaoh. People have their issues with all of these people, but one thing that you can't take away from them is they're great. They have a great following. Okay, Dr. Umar or Ray Hagins, whoever it is, Jamar, whoever you choose to follow, Malcolm, Martin, all of these men have great followings. My whole point is, if God really cared about spreading his gospel, okay, just like he came to Paul, because Paul was supposedly one of the greatest teachers. He supposedly wrote most of the New Testament. Okay, so Jesus felt compelled enough to come and straighten Paul's mind out because he wasn't doing the right things. Why wouldn't you appear to Malcolm? Why wouldn't you appear to Martin? Why wouldn't you want to have the best teachers to spread your gospel? Okay, so if you're gonna have a road to Damascus moment with Saul or Paul or whatever his name is, then you got to have a road to Damascus moment with Kevin Wesley. You have to have a road to Damascus moment with Jamar Milton. You have to have a road to Damascus moment with Ray Hagins or whatever teacher, Dr. Ben. Henry Clark. You gotta have a road to Damascus moment. But none of these men, because they're real and because they are authentic and because they are genuine, they never proclaim to have had a road to Damascus moment. So until I get a road to Damascus moment, I know this thing is just not real. Okay, so again, along with that same little situation there, you cannot. It just like the make believe Jesus told Paul. It should be hard for you to kick against the pricks, okay? Because you know what's right. You know the old law, okay? You was raised, at the feet of Gamaliel, so you know the law, okay? But you're killing Christians, so it should be hard for you to kick against the pricks of your conscience, okay? So I flip that and tell you that it should be hard for you, and it should be hard for all of these preachers out here who are not doing the right thing. It should be hard for them to kick against the pricks, okay? But it's not, okay? So when your common sense is just pricking you and telling you that don't make sense, that don't make sense, that don't make sense, it should come to a point where you can no longer fight against it, okay? So when is that moment gonna come? So I'm gonna let you get in here, Vanessa, because I'm long-winded. I'm gonna let you add something to that.
I was taking notes, brother. You reminded me of a moment. And unfortunately, this moment, the person was trying to get me closer to God, but what they did is they drove me further away. And I'm where you at. But first of all, let me back up, and I want to first give my props and my respect to Kevin for even opening up this platform where we could come in and feel safe to speak and to get that message out, because there's so many people out there that are in the situations that we are in, are even still in the church, and they don't have a safe haven. They don't feel like they have anybody that's with them. If when Kevin stepped out and when he created this arena for us, we have to stop and give him his respect. And I got to give you your respect, because you've been holding it down, Mr. Swink. You've been holding it down. But let me get back to what I was saying. I was in the church one day, and it was late night, praise dancing, I don't know, cleaning the bleachers, I don't know what we were doing. But this homeless guy came, knocking on the door. I'm like, I'm going to answer the door. We in church. God got us, right? Nothing's going to happen. So I answered the door. He said he wanted, he was hungry. He wanted something to eat. So one of the ministers were there. That was, we had 3 ministers in the church. And she said, well, send him away. We can't have people knocking on the door of the church telling them, saying they hungry. Blew me away. And, I told her, I said, yo, that disturbed me. We have a kitchen downstairs. We have a soup kitchen downstairs. We couldn't have opened it up and gave this man something to eat. And I said, I don't see that being of God. She told me, well, maybe God wasn't supposed to do it. Maybe you're supposed to do it. Why didn't you give him some money out of your pocket? Now, she thought that was going to bring me closer, but it brought me further. It took me more steps out of this is not where I'm supposed to be. Because what happened is I said, you're right. Why am I not doing it? So when you move away from God and Jesus, you're moving away from that excuse. I couldn't go home and pray for the man anymore because my conscience was telling me, why didn't I do it? And what's the problem with Christianity is they using this character, this God character, this Jesus character as their scapegoat. So I don't have to do it because I can pray and it's going to happen. No, it's not, because then it still wouldn't be all this going. That guy shouldn't have been able to knock on the church and say he was hungry. God should have saw him coming and opened the doors. You know what I'm saying? So what I started to do, I started going out against the grain, feeding the people with money out of my pocket. And when I went to the church and said, look, this is what I've been doing, the church told me, we don't have no funds to help you. You can't help me for what I'm already doing. You can't send people with me. You can't give me make a love offering so I can. Y'all don't want to go out there and do it. So I'm doing it. So you can't help me. So it's your conscious. You're telling God to do something that you're not willing to do. It's just like telling the next man, you sitting on here and I'm saying to you, do this, and I'm not doing it. I'm mad because the hungry aren't getting fed. But what are you doing to feed them? It's not about God anymore. It's not, and it's if we're going to move away from Christianity and claim to want to be leaders in something, what are you doing? Don't complain if you're not doing something.
You're exactly right, and that's the thing. It's just no. Everyone wants to teach Jesus, but no one wants to be Jesus. Okay. And this Bible tells you that you have to sacrifice, that you have to become Christ, and this is another thing with the pastors. Okay, you have an array of different reasons why people come to religion or come to being a preacher or a clergyman. Okay, some come to, and I think we talked about this a while ago. Some do it just like they want to do it. Like they have good intentions. They want to help, and this is probably like the only way that they know to help someone. They can help them by doing, I guess, community work, and also help them spiritually, okay, which some people think you need that, but I get it. Spiritual well-being is important. So they think that they can help in both of those ways, okay. But in some cases, it almost becomes like being a police officer, okay. You have these good intentions going in, okay. You get into the organization and you kind of see how everything is operating, and it either turns you away or it corrupt you. You go in with the corruption. Okay, so you become corrupt, or you just be like, you know what, this is not for me. I can't do it, and you just walk away from it. And then you have those who say, you know what, I see all of this corruption going on. I'm doing me. I'm not like them. So that has nothing to do with me. Okay, so I think you're just as complicit when you see certain things going on, but you stay silent and you don't say anything. And I'll kind of point out a few things with the pastors, like we was having a conversation before we came on air, or on live. Okay, I'm like, we not on TV. All right, so we was talking about how some the churches are all divided. Okay, and this is how you know this thing is not real. Okay, because you can make it mean whatever you want it, whatever you want it to mean. Okay, you have some churches, and I know it has to do with demographics and where you are geographically, as far as the population and things of that nature. I get that, but why are the white churches and the black churches not coming together if it's just all about Jesus and love and compassion? And why are the white ministers, some of them are, and I'm the ones who are, I give you your props, but it's not enough for you. Why are you not speaking out against social injustice? Why are we not having this situation like on the movie Color Purple, where everybody just come out, maybe God is trying to tell you something. Like I know I can't sing, but hey, just forget about that. Like everybody just come, everybody just come together, okay, and just praise and worship and do community work, not just talk about the problem, not just sing about the problem, not just talk about when you get to heaven, what's gonna happen, but say, hey, Sister Jones' house is a shack, okay? We're gonna move Sister Jones out. On Sunday, bring your hard hat, your hammer, your tool belt. We're gonna build Sister Jones a house, okay? And we're gonna work on it however long it takes for us to work on it until we build it. Okay? That's what we doing on Sunday. Tamasha, cook some vegan food, because we're gonna be out there, we're gonna need something to eat. Okay? Whatever. And then once we finish Sister Jones' house, we're gonna work on the next house until the community is all taken care of. But what do? They raise money and they take money, and I apologize for my volume, but when I get into it, I lose track. I lose, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, when you're building the community, so why is the church always getting something? Okay, the very book that you read from, and some of you don't read it, okay, but your very book says God is not worshipped with men's hands. He says, "What house can you build me?" But we're study building churches. The church gets something built on it before your house does. When the last time the members of the congregation of the church came to build you a house or remodel your home? They don't. But they quick to remodel the church. They quick to take up some money for the church. But their book says, what house are you going to be able to build God? Okay, he says he's not worshipped with men's hands as if he needed anything. So if he don't need nothing, why are we giving money to the church? If he doesn't need anything, why are we singing and dancing and praising and falling out and speaking in tongues? He don't need nothing. If he doesn't need anything, why? Why give it the energy? Let's clean up the community. The drug dealer, the gangbanger, that who don't have no dad, he needs something. He needs something more than God. So why are we not paying attention to him? You see what I'm saying? Why are we not tearing down the trap house and building a house for somebody? Because we waiting on Jesus. I'm sorry. Let me let you get back in the conversation, Vanessa, before I go off.
Listen, the church I was a member of, the last church I was a member of for like 15 years, that church, when I moved out here to where I live now in the suburbs of New York, that church was there. In this community, the community we moved to, they called it the New D, the new development. Black people were just starting to move into this area. I was still being called a nigger walking down the street. So that was like the first Black church. It started in one of the mother's basements. And when I started going to the church, it was just one level. And of course, we started the building fund. Built it up. But the thing is, by the time I got there, that church was 50 years in. We were celebrating the 50th birthday. And I'm looking around, I'm saying, we don't own nothing in the community. Why is there empty lots that the church isn't buying to build community centers? Why is there no, I was getting ready to say the name of the church, and they would have been at my door. But listen, why, not that I care, but I don't want to put them out there like that. But why isn't is it their daycares? Why isn't there places for the elderly? Nothing with the church's name on it. Nothing. And it disturbs me that you can have this celebration. Oh, sister so and so's been in this church for 40 years, but you okay that's nothing's being done? You okay that you're buying a new Cadillac or whatever the pastor's driving these days? Y'all okay doing that? Y'all okay? We still paying into a building fund. We've been building on this church for the past 50 years, and now we need another extension. Y'all okay with that? Y'all okay with updating the parsonage next door so that the pastor could be living lovely and giving him another apartment because he want to be living next to the church? Y'all okay with that? But yet Sister Jones can't get a grass mowed? So Brother Jenkins down here, everybody died. He's a widow and his house is falling apart, like you said, and we can't form a committee to go down there. Why do we have to keep building onto the church? Why do we have to have a building fund for 100 years? And frankly, we know that building fund ain't really going just towards the building. I mean, like, I've been in the back door, so I know that building fund ain't just going towards the building. But why don't we question why the community is not benefiting from this organization, this business, because that's what it is, this tax-free business is not even helping to educate our children. Why aren't they doing anything in the community? And why aren't we and them, because it's not me, them as because I'm not in it no more, but how can you sit there and not question this? I'm just saying, I'm getting ready to yell like you be yelling. But why is it not being questioned? That's what I want to know. Why is it not? Why, if anybody in this room is still in the church, how do you not let that sit on your conscience in some way?
Yeah, I get it. I'm with you 100%, and that's why I'm so passionate. Well, I'm passionate about everything I do. So I was a teacher. I was real close to becoming a preacher. Like, if I would have been in the church just a little bit longer, I would have been a preacher. I hit people over the head with the Bible. I did. I got you baptized. I got so many people baptized in the church. They thought I was inviting people to a barbecue. So they like, boy, what you telling these people? I'm like, I'm telling them what you told me to tell them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, I'm just like for real about it. You see what I'm saying? So, but like, so just as many people as I led to that water, who thought they was I guess getting dipped for the remission of sins, but they just got wet and cold and confused. That's all. When you go down that water, you come up, you wet, cold, and confused. That's it. That's all. You ain't saved. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to deal with America. So you definitely not saved. Okay. So but yeah, I dealt with that. I get it. It is you're right. It is a business. It's operated like a business. The pastor in most cases is the CEO. The church board are the executives. I look at the congregation as the customers. Okay, so you got to cater to your customers. You got to entertain your customers. Everything you do is for the customer. It's to bring those customers in. It's to attract those customers. It's to retention those customers. Okay, that's why you send them letters out in the mail. Hey, you ain't paid your tithes. I ain't seen you at church and so long. We love you. You get these letters, these form letters. That letter is not personalized to you. That letter it got your name on it. They just stamp everybody's name on the same letter and be like, we care about you here, and we haven't seen you in a long time. Where are you? And you think they care about you, so you come back. No, they don't care. They need you in that seat so they can get your money. So pastor can get your money. The same pastor that used to be a pimp, the same pastor that used to be a drug dealer, the same pastor that used to be a gangster. Now, I'm not shaming anybody for reforming your life. I get it. But at the same time, you just can't put on Jesus. Okay, like it tell you in the Bible, you got to put Jesus on you, wear him like a gun. You can't just wear Jesus, okay, and forget about all of the detriment that you have caused your community. So while you wearing Jesus, I need you to get out there and get involved in some young man's or some young woman's life and change somebody's life. So while you wearing Jesus, I need you to get out there and get some of them drug dealers off the corner while you wearing Jesus. Okay, so I need you to do more. Okay, you just can't get to the end of your life. A life full of like I said in the video a couple weeks ago, a life of nothingness. Okay, I don't know if that's a word. I'm pretty sure it is, but if it ain't, you know what I mean. Okay, a life of nothing. Okay, a life that's destitute, and then get at the end and think, oh, I'm about to get on this Jesus train and go to heaven. And that's what a lot of people think. They don't take responsibility for their actions. Okay, and some people do. They are remorseful for the things that they've done, and they are trying to make amends. I get it, okay? But it's more you going down getting baptized. You know what you've been doing out there, okay? So you can't just go get dipped in that water and come back up and think everything is forgiven, because it is not. Okay, that pain and that destruction and that detriment that you did to your community is still there. Okay, so you got to go and do some repairing, do some restitution and some retribution for the things that you've done. You just can't put on Jesus. Okay, so another point that I want to make is, and this is the thing, this is what the motivational speaker tells you. Like these churches, they're like, or these pastors, they're gonna be like, well, we can't, that's not our problem, it's not our issue. We can't do that. We've never done that. What does the motivational speaker tell you? Okay, he says to you that you have to do something that you've never done in order to get something that you never had. Okay, so if you want to repair the community, okay, if you care about making sure that everybody is living a good, high quality of life, you have to do something that you've never done. You have to be revolutionary in your thinking. Yes, you've been on the corner of this block for 20 years and you never communicated with the church down the street. Y'all never combined y'all doctrines together. Okay, you got to do something that you've never done in order to get something that you never had. Okay, so just like you're going to tell me that, apply it to yourself. And this is the thing with religion, they never, the stuff that they teaching you, it's never self-applicable. Okay, it's always, I'm going to teach it to you, but I'm not going to do it. Okay, you do it. You do it, preacher. You do it. Go ahead, chime in, Ms. Vanessa. I'm sorry, I said I did it again. Queen Vanessa.
It's okay. It's all good. You know, when we had a Spanish church in the neighborhood, um, 4 or 5 doors down from us, never visited them. They never visited us. Now the black churches, they'll visit each other. They'll bring it together. It's like a family reunion. But like you said, they don't mix the races. Now, where's the upper room experience? You understand what I'm saying? Where is the where's the community? Where's the sense of let's all get together? We're outraged too. Why when little Bobby Brown got shot, the Spanish church didn't knock on the door and say, yo, what we gonna do about this? Why when the MS-13s was running wild in our area, why didn't our church knock on the Spanish door and say, yo, how can we help you in your community with this problem? They didn't mix. They didn't go together. They didn't communicate with each other. And if we take the example of the Bible, technically they shouldn't be mixing. The tribes shouldn't be mixing, right? But then if you go to the New Testament and you say, hey, the upper room, they all started speaking together. They all started communicating together. They all supposed to have been one tribe. Where's that at? There's no togetherness in the community when it comes down to activism. You know, that church is their problem. The white church, what their problem is their problem. The black church, what their problem is their problem. The Spanish church, what their problem is their problem. They don't come together. Now, how is that God? Even in the book study, the Bible, even if we're just looking at it as a character, let's be realistic on this thing. How is it that God wants everybody so separate? How is this the word of God? How is this what you going by? But we got the Baptist, the Pentecostal, we got this, we got that. So many denominations, so many different versions, so many interpretations. But this is the word of God. It doesn't fit. So if we take that out of the equation and to think for ourselves, why don't we sit back and say something's not right? You know, something is not right with this formula we're following, because nothing has changed since the black people started joining, minorities period started joining and building churches in the name of this white Jesus. Nothing has changed. Nothing has happened. There's no togetherness. Racism still exists. You know, what has been conquered? So when are we going to realize that the ones that are sitting in the church and say, yo, it's time to do something different, and stop doing it behind the church's back? Because that's what they're doing. They go out there and they be activists, but yet the church isn't backing them up. You know, people tried to say a lot about Al Sharpton. They could say, well, you know, people like him or don't like him, but he did it in the face. I'm Reverend Al Sharpton, and I'm going out there and I'm fighting for the Tawana Brawleys or the Central Park Five. You know, he went out there and did it in their face. You know, so where's the other preachers? Instead of praying with Trump, why aren't they out there forming a circle around these brothers and that's getting shot and protesting at the police stations? You know, where are they when that voice? But they want to pray with the president. You know, come on. It's common sense. If you just loving yourself as a person, you claim to be a conscious person. How can you walk into this church every Sunday and not demand some type of change in your community?
That's exactly right. You know, I think the book says, he says, if you did it to the least of my brethren, you did it to me. So if that's why I say you can make this book means anything you want it to mean. The only thing that they follow is you staying poor and they living in the abundance. Okay, they gotta live in the abundance, because the preacher, he gonna live in the abundance. Okay, while you live poor, he gonna teach you the principles and say, well, you know, wait on God. It's something you not doing right. I'm the preacher, so hey, I'm doing everything right. I'm leading the people, so of course I'm gonna live in the abundance. Of course God is gonna bless me because I'm doing what's right. But God ain't blessing you because of something that you're not doing right. You're either not tithing enough. You need to fix the relationship with your spouse. Your kids acting up. It's something that you're doing that can't seem to get you to that point of abundance, like the praying preacher. And then I'm talking about the PREY right now, the predator type. Okay, so we're going to talk about that just a little bit. And I know you have some stories in relation to that of Vanessa. So I almost called you Miss Vanessa. Okay. All right, Vanessa. All right, so the thing is, we have too many of these situations. Like, we don't even have to really go into all of the corruption. And I kind of wanted to look at this from a different perspective, because I know when we talk about praying, most of the time people are going to think about, the molestation and the sexual assault and things of that nature. So that like, if that wasn't bad enough, okay, that you have all of these, like not one or two, but just numerous reports of people just not using religion as a cover to do and I guess go about their schemes. Okay, so doing it in the name of God. Okay, so people scheming, scamming, manipulating in the name of God, and it's just like they just go unpunished, untainted. So it's just too many. Just like there's, like we talked off camera, we talked about there's too many errors in this book. Like, if it was just one thing, and everything we talked about was always pointing towards that one thing, you're like, man, y'all stuck on this one thing. It's not one thing. It's like 100 things. You see what I'm saying? That's wrong with this book. So that's why we have an issue. So the only way that it's gonna ever make sense to you, the only way that everything is gonna make, like, the proof is in the pudding. Okay, you don't need proof. You don't need for a God to show up. You don't need for a Christ to show up to see that this is not working. Okay, so if you brought, and I deal in pharmaceuticals, right? Okay, so if you gave somebody some medication and they're like throwing up and puking and stuff like that, like, that's evidence that the medication doesn't work. Like it has too many side effects. It needs to be reformulated. Like, you test it. You see what I'm saying? Like, this thing has been tested over and over and over again. Okay, so like, what proof do you need? Like, when somebody can go into a church and blow your brains out, and God don't protect you, like, what other proof do you need? Like, I'm scared to go to church now, really. Like, you got to take your gun. Like that's crazy. Like, you can't even let your guard down in the supposed house of God. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay, so before I go into anything else, I'm sorry, Miss Vanessa. Let me oh damn, you gotta forgive me. I'm from Alabama. I'm sorry. It's gonna take me a while not to call you Vanessa, Queen Vanessa. Okay. All right. So another point I wanted to make is, so with following religious leaders and them praying on their congregation. Okay. So it's like this: when you have a religious leader and they're not about money, and they're not leading their congregation to destruction. Let's take Jim Jones, for example. Okay. Now, people would say Jim Jones was a fanatic. He led his people, and they killed themselves. They got killed or whatever. Now, I'm not with the conspiracy theory out. So I whether the people committed suicide or not, they're dead. Okay. So, but he had an idea. He's gonna leave America, and he's gonna go down to Jonestown. Okay, in South America. They called it Jonestown, and then create this compound where they just gonna have the freedom to do whatever it is that they wanted to do. Okay, so let's say that they did kill themselves. Okay, so you would say a person like that was crazy. Okay, but they're actually doing what the book says. They're not caring about anything in the world. So when you don't care about anything in the world, when you actually do what the book tells you to do, then you are a fanatic. Okay, when you actually care about the poor, when you give away your money, like the church, why does the church have to hang on to all of their money? Shouldn't they have faith in God they should just be able to empty out their bank accounts like to zero, and then have faith that God is going to replenish. They'll let you dump out your bank account to zero, but they won't dump out their bank account to zero and hope that God is gonna bless them and replenish. Next time they get you to donate some money, tell them to dump out your bank account. Let's see how much faith the church actually has. Get the bank account down to zero. Okay, so but they won't do that. They teach you to do it. They'll let you do it, but they won't do it. Back to my point, okay? Jim Jones, okay? So when someone's a religious fanatic and they want to shed this flesh, which the Bible tells you it's no good, it can't please God, and they want to go into the spiritual realm, you like, they crazy. That's crazy, okay? A Marshall Applewhite, the Heaven's Gate cult leader, they killed themselves, okay, because they was reading this book, and he was trying to decipher the prophecies in this book. So he was like, look, this is just a vessel. Our energy or whatever he thought was going to connect with that Hale-Bopp comet, and then a spaceship and extraterrestrials was going to pick them up. Okay, they was not afraid to die. They was not afraid to get his life up, okay? But the fake religious people, they scared to die. They don't want to die. They don't want to go be with Jesus. They don't want to go be with God, you know, which in a place that's supposedly so much better. Okay, but they won't do it. But when someone actually does do it, okay, you call them a fanatic. And then again, you got to point to the fact that, let's say suicide is a sin. I don't even believe in sins anymore. But let's just say suicide is a sin. Your God loves you. He has mercy on you, so he won't come to you and tell you, don't kill yourself. He didn't come to the Heaven's Gate cult and say, look, don't kill yourself. You're about to make a mistake. So if he can't come to you and correct your mistake, just like he did Paul, that just tells you that this thing is not real. So he's going to correct one person's mistake, but he's not going to correct your mistake. And again, I want to make another point with that Paul situation, okay? Your God allowed people to be martyred, okay? Stephen over in the book of Acts, the make-believe God allowed him to be martyred, okay? So martyrdom is actually a deterrent for you believing in the religion. It deters followers from believing in your religion. So you got to think about this. Your make-believe God allows you to be martyred, okay, which is going to cause other witnesses and people that's maybe thinking about converting to that religion. They like, no, they just killed that dude in the street. I'm not joining that religion. So it actually deters followers from joining your religion. So he allows something to happen that you look at as like an honorable, admirable thing for you to be killed for Christ, but it actually goes against what he's actually trying to accomplish. Do you want people to come to you, or do you want people to be afraid of joining your movement? Okay, I'm sorry, Queen Vanessa. Let me get you back in here. I had asked you if you knew of any situations that occurred where preachers or pastors are actually praying on the congregation. Any direct situation that you can share with us?
Okay. You can call me Miss Vanessa, okay? We got
I know you're gonna kill me when we get off here, but that's all right.
yeah, we'll talk about that later. But the funny thing is what you said about people being afraid to die, Christians being afraid to die. But if that's the only way to meet God, when obviously it is, what you're here for? What's your purpose really here on earth? If first of all, if you're not doing nothing, because most of these churches, they only preach it to themselves. They're not going in the community and trying to bring anybody in. They might have their revivals now and then, but I mean, as soon as somebody really come off the street, with a crack pipe and a short skirt, they're talking about, so they're not really trying to attract the sinners. So, I mean, your ultimate goal is, so when I die, to go to heaven. So, hey, suicide should be, should be okay. Should be something to do. And if it's not, be clear about it. God, talk to me. We could play a game right now. Let's all follow the Bible and see who's left. It's no clear. It's no clear interpretation of it. Are they praying? Or are they praying? That's what you asked me. If I had some example, I just had to go back on that.
Oh, of course.
I mean, we can look at it at different angles, and I have a lot of stories, but right now, what I'm feeling is right now is about consciousness. I'm a writer. I write poetry. That's what I do, and that's not how I make a living, but that's my passion. And I had a poem that that said, I didn't learn anything in the church about myself. there is no medium in the church to teach Black people about themselves. Now, I know that they try to throw it in there a little bit in their hee-hawing moment. But when you go to Bible study, is there also a Black history class in that church? They're teaching you to be a good Christian. But where's the teaching on what happened to your people? If they start going into that, if they start going into how we really became Christians, if they start going into that, then they're gonna start losing their customer base. Right? So it's not going to be no Black history in the church, because then there's going to be people being enraged. Then there's going to be people demanding to understand, where do we fit in the Bible. Then they're going to understand, wait a minute, this Bible wasn't written for us. Then we're going to go back to things like the slave Bible and say, okay, so why was this given to us? Then we go back to the question, are they praying? Are they praying? And not educating us on who we are in the place that we're supposed to get our salvation from, then you're praying. It's nowhere in the world that you can take and go into the pulpit and say, as a Black man, that you know yourself, that you're conscious, and you're not teaching your congregation anything about themselves. You're not teaching your congregation on where the Christianity came from and what it has done to our people. All you teach them in most Black churches, what's on the wall? What's on the stained glass windows? It's that white Jesus. And no matter how you color him, he's not real. But the bottom line is, why aren't you teaching your congregation about yourself? How can there be self-love when all you got is Christian love? And when you look at the God as an example of love, you're not going to get much of a, what would Jesus do, man? We liable to go and kill the world. So when the brother's running in the street, blowing up himself from the Muslim community, you have to give him a promise of something else, because he's not just going to do it. So you giving him a promise, hey, you're going to get them virgins when you go to heaven, when you go to heaven. So this earth experience don't matter. So just start killing people. It has to be a promise of something else. And the only promise we getting is of heaven. So it's okay to go and blow yourself up, because, hey, when I get to heaven, it's going to be something there waiting for me. But then when you go back and look at it, you have to think, then what is this earth experience for? It's too many errors, bro. It's too many errors and too many questions not to ask yourself. And then when you start teaching this, people are going to ask the questions. And then you're going to lose your customer base. And that's a form of praying. That's a form of praying on us.
You're exactly right. Okay, when you keep your people, what does the book say? My people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. Okay, well, give them some knowledge then. Okay, give them
Give us
some
some
knowledge.
apple.
It also says in there, like, if you see, you're supposed to be a watchman. If you see trouble coming and you don't alert, it says you're guilty of that. You're guilty of, like, falling asleep on your watch or whatever. So all it's crazy to me, and I'm gonna go back to something you just said. No, they want you practicing the Bible, but they don't practice it. You see what I'm saying? When they want you to turn the other cheek, but they ain't turning the other cheek. They the ones beating you upside the head, so they ain't got no cheek to turn. You see what I'm saying? So, but we all Christian though. We all, you know what I'm saying? We all follow the Bible. We all, submit to this God that everybody, says exists. So the dude that's busting you upside the head and brutalizing you, he don't have to turn the other cheek. Where's his compassion? Where's his sympathy? But he go to church though. You know what I'm saying? His parents raised him in church. Okay, so why is he not affected by his teaching? Because you're the only one that practices it. You're the only one. You're the only one that's gonna be lowly, meek, docile, poor and wretched. That's you. That's your role. You see what I'm saying? His role is the dominant role. Your role is the one that's gonna be at the bottom. The one that needs healing. You need healing because you've been traumatized. That's why you need healing. You meek and lowly because everything been taken from you. So that's your role. So the role is, can we reverse the role, please, just for a little bit, okay? Because I think if we was at the top and you was at the bottom, we probably would treat you a little bit better, maybe. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm not trying to make this a black-white issue, but what I'm saying is like you see the hypocrisy. It's not just hypocrisy when you're just cheating on your wife and lying and cheating and stealing. It's hypocrisy when your book says one blood, all nation of men. So we're supposed to be all one. Like you said, we're not supposed to be divided. We're supposed to all be one together. But when you got 50,000 different denominations, like you're going against your own book, and that's just asinine. When you got 50,000 different churches, one speaking in tongue, one baptized, one lay on the hand, like all of this not well. We don't deal with them. We split from them because they don't believe in tithes or they speaking. You see what I'm saying? These dumb things. What does that have to do with the community? With the uplift for the community? Who cares if you speak in tongues or not? What does that have to do with anything? You see, and we just so crazy, with this nonsense. But I'm about to link up with the church. I'm actually there's a mega church here in Phoenix. Okay, it's the largest church here, and I've done my research on it. $6.6 million this church is worth. But guess what's in the surrounding area? Homelessness, people living on the streets, people on drugs. Around this big $6.6 million, this church has grown so much that they built another church about 30 miles away. And I couldn't, I'd be doing the real estate thing, so I can look up the property value and all that. I couldn't find a property value on the other church because it's in a different county, but I'm pretty sure that one's probably in the millions as well. This thing has about 305,000 square feet. That's about 7 acres, okay? You sitting on 7 acres of land. The church is worth $6.6 million. But like the pastor of this church, he actually passed away probably like earlier, like January. I think January of this year. He's coming up on the first anniversary of his death. But guess how old he was when he became pastor of this church? Like, people not even gonna believe this. Put it in the chat. Guess how old this preacher was that became pastor of a church. And this is how religiously sick we are. If anybody in the chat can guess how old this preacher was when he was supposedly anointed as pastor of this church. Just put an age in there. Let me see if somebody can get close to it. We ain't got no delay on this chat. Let me see. Let's see if we got any numbers in here. Okay, so Tim Thomas said 18. Okay, somebody said 25. Okay. This gonna get 15. Marcus Johnson said 12. Like you close. Marcus Johnson is the close. He was 7 years old. Like, okay, what can you do at age 7? Okay, he took over the church at 7 years old. They named him senior pastor at 16. So you're a pastor of a church. Now I'm pretty sure it's almost like having a young king where you have people in place that's going to do things for you and guide you and things like that. But if you got to do everything for this young man, why anoint him as the pastor at age 7? When he can't do nothing? He can't counsel people on their relationships. He can't do anything that a pastor is supposed to do. Why anoint him a pastor at 7 years old? It's different than anointing a king. That's through bloodlines and if you're an heir or not. So sometimes you can't help being a young king or having some type of succession to the throne because of your age. If somebody dies and you're the next one up, doesn't matter what age you are, but you have control over a church to choose someone to be a pastor. You can't choose no pastor at age 7. Not even at 16. He was a senior pastor at 16. And this is like the hugest church in Phoenix. Okay, 4,000 members they have. Okay, so it just goes to show you that people just don't have the right mindset when it comes to religion. Like, religion totally destroys your judgment. And I'm gonna let you chime in, Queen.
I'm speechless. Like 7, that just shows you. And if you speak on them about it, they're gonna say God anointed him. I'm gonna just jump right off of that because listen, 7, it's really no explanation for that. First of all, it's child abuse. Let's just put that straight out there. It's child abuse. I mean, what are they? What responsibilities are they putting on this baby? It's child abuse. I mean, what are they? He has no time to even get a sense of self, and they telling them now that he hearing voices to tell everybody else what to do. It's really no different. It seems strange to us, but it's no different with other religions. I mean, they like the Buddhists and stuff, how they raise their little people from 2 or 3 to be, these goddesses and gods. It's really no different, but it's strange for the African American community. But it's all child abuse to me. The pastors, we put them in a spot where the Bible tells us that God talks to everybody. That's what the book says, right? That's the book study. The Bible talks to everybody. The veil was supposed to be broken when Jesus left. We were supposed to be able to approach God directly, even though the Catholics got something else going on, but we were supposed to be able to approach him directly. But yet we put this man in a pulpit, and we say, when we look at the pulpit, you don't see the man, you're supposed to see God. You're not listening to man no more. Once he gets in that pulpit, the Holy Spirit done took over, and now we're listening to the voice of God. So therefore, once he leaves that pulpit, he has an excuse to be a man again. No matter what he does, they will excuse it, because when he's in that pulpit, he got the anointing. He's covered. So you see these pastors going out there doing things and the thing is, to me, yeah, he is just a man. Don't elevate him. I got a thing that says, they say, practice what you preach. To me, I say, preach what you practice. Because if these pastors got in the pulpit and really preach what they practice, it'd be a whole new ball game in that church. They don't preach what they practice. They practice what they preach. They don't even practice what they preach most of the time. And it comes back to that praying mentality, because what happens is we put these pastors, we elevate them to where we think we have to go through them to get through God. And we treat them with a certain elevation that gives them the opportunity to prey on us. And when it comes down to the women in the church, and I'm not saying that the women don't, because a lot of people are attracted to people in power. But the people in power, to me, if you're entrusted to this flock, you're a man entrusted to this flock, you should have certain restraints on you. You shouldn't be preying on the women in the church, no matter how much she's coming up to you, no matter how much she's coming on you. Well, I'm just a man, sister, don't wear that tight skirt, because it's going to mess up the man. I'm preaching. Hey, you're supposed to be in the spirit, bro. So why is it that the woman is blamed when the pastor's playing? And I'm talking about the male pastors, because that's what I'm experiencing. I haven't had any women pastors come on to me, so I can only talk about the male pastors. I have not met one pastor, not one, and this is my experience, that lived what he preached in that pulpit. Not even to the point of restraint. When I went to the church, when I first went to the church with my broken self, that's what I'm going to call it. When I joined the church with my broken self, and I'm not the only card in the deck. I'm not the finest sister out there. So if the deacon is hitting on me, he done hit on everybody else. So if I'm going to the pastor and say, look, the deacon is doing this, he's doing this, and I'm not feeling comfortable with it. And he tells me, well, you're a light, sister. You can't stop the moths from coming. What are you saying to me? You just a light. You can't stop the moths from coming to the light unless you turn your light out. Let your light shine. This is what I was told. And I was like, you know what? You're right. If I'm gonna let my light shine, I'm gonna be me. And but that's their way of grooming. And people look at grooming from the point of a child molester. Like we look at the Catholic churches, how they groom their altar boys and how they groom this and how they groom that. These pastors groom these sisters in this church. They might not do it from the pedophile point of view, but they're doing it from a person that's entrusting you with just your spiritual, your salvation, and you're taking advantage of that. You're taking advantage of that. I was when I started being the pastor's nurse, by request, you know, it was certain things that he did to groom me so that when he came out to make his big advance, that I wouldn't look at it as strange. First it was, sister, can you bring me my towels after I get out of the shower? Why ain't your towels in there with you? But me, hey, I gotta serve. This man done preached and he got the Holy Spirit and he tired. Let me bring him his towels. And then the third, fourth time I brought the towels. Oh, I didn't know you were coming and you just standing there naked. Me, hey, I ain't see nothing. I'm not naive. I know what's up. But me thinking, you know, this is supposed to be the person that's in charge of my salvation, because we're not in charge of our own salvation. Because once you start going to church, you're dependent on this man to lead you the way. Because God ain't talking to us; He's talking to the preacher. He's not talking to us, and we can say, well, I heard the word of God. If everybody was so-called hearing the word of God, why do we need a preacher? So therefore, you go in there because you're thinking God is talking to him. You don't really think you can call him up on the main line, or you wouldn't still be in church. So this pastor was grooming me with bring the towels. And then by the time he made his big advance on me, and I was like, is this proper? You a married man, you doing this, and you coming on to me like this. He says, hey, everybody, don't think that the pastor down the street ain't doing it. Don't think that pastor so-and-so ain't doing it. Don't think this is not doing it. He started telling on everybody that's doing it. Not that, yo, sister, thanks for checking me. I'm just being a man, and I was in the flesh, as they say. He started saying, well, everybody else is doing it. Why can't I? I'm living so holy. I need a release. And that's the praying mentality. And I can't think of too many sisters that can't come. And if it wasn't the pastor and if it wasn't the deacons, you can't tell me that these holy men that were doing the most holy stuff in the church has not hit on these sisters in some way or another. But yet they tell the sisters, yo, you got to tone down your outfits. You got to watch the way you dress. You got to watch the way you carry yourself. So that praying mentality in church, and they have these sisters sitting here looking at this man like he's like God. They're not looking at God. They're looking at this man that he is God, that he's that representation. So they're being groomed to be in situations that the Bible put women in. Because if you follow the instructions of the Bible, women were nothing but objects anyway. In a church, no matter what, they're following that same example by what they're continuing to allow to happen.
And you said a mouthful right there. I'm just listening to your story, and I'm like, wow, okay, man. But that's very true. A lot of these men, because but you have to look at it like this, and a lot of these things, like maybe when you're in religion, and because maybe you don't know, like, and I'm not saying you personally, but just a person, maybe they don't know the Bible that well, and a lot of Christians and Bible followers don't. Okay, so but these preachers do, and some of them, most of them do. And when you're reading a book that has like all types of sexual immorality in the book itself, okay, when you're looking at the characters, making all types of mistakes, like Paul just was writing crazy stuff, like he said he couldn't do, he wanted to do right, but he couldn't do right, and there was sin in him, and all of this nonsense. Paul talking about he beguiling people, he tricking people. That's one of Lee Sean's phrase. He always point that out. He always talk about when Paul says, I beguiled you. You know what I mean? So Paul also wrote, and Paul, well, first of all, Paul didn't write anything. The person who say Paul wrote it, this dude said he wrote something. I think it's in First Corinthians. Okay, whoever knows what I'm talking about, like, put it in the chat or go look it up. he says, God didn't tell me to write this. I'm writing this on my own accord. You see what I'm saying? So he's telling you he didn't get this from God, but supposedly everything in the Bible is inspired by God. You see what I'm saying? So he's saying, look, I'm writing this on my own. Okay. So when I read that for the first time, I'm like, hold on. I took it to the preacher. I'm like, what is this? What is this Paul talking about? He just writing this on his own. He didn't get this from God. How he just gonna write some stuff? So now I'm just messed up on the whole thing. So I'm like, if Paul just gonna write some stuff, like like how can anybody else? They can just write something too. You see what I'm saying? Like, why is my writings not good enough? You see what I'm saying? Why is my writings not inspired by God? You see what I'm saying? So if he could just write something on his own without God inspiring him or the Holy Spirit inspiring him, like what makes it any different for anyone else? So I'm just like this stuff is just crazy. You know, and then in these preachers who abuse their power, who just think that they only are held to a high standard when it comes to you acknowledging them, when it comes to whatever it is that they doing in the church. Then they wanna hold this high standard. But when it comes to their behavior, they just want to be, oh, I'm a man. Okay, well, if you a man, we gonna treat you as a man. Some of these preachers, like I'd seen a video on, I think it was on Facebook or YouTube, where they was coming to this guy. I was over in Africa, okay? Coming to this guy. This guy pulled up in like a Range Rover, a red carpet. He was sitting in a chair, and grown men, I don't care if it was grown men, children, whoever, was coming up to him, crawling on the ground and kissing his feet, and he allowed them to do that. Okay? This is that is just so despicable. Okay? There's no way, I don't care what I ever do in my life, whatever I ascend to or whatever, I would never let anyone get down on their knees to me, and at any, I'll be like, dude, get up. What are you doing? Like don't do that to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a man. I'm humble. You see what I'm saying? It's just like Jamar said in one of his songs. He says, a real king serve first and they eat last. You see what I'm saying? So you're supposed to be a servant, but you got people coming up to, like, dude, like if I was there, I'd have some people with me. We'd have we'd have just snatched him up and drug him in the back or something. You see what I'm saying? Like, just be like, bro, like, you know, just gave him a nice little lumping or something. Like, you don't allow people to like dehumanize themselves in that manner. You call yourself a man of God, like a man of Christ, and you gonna let somebody get on their knees and crawl up to you like you God? Like, I mean, you are God, but like not in that sense. We all gods. But I'm gonna treat you like a God. I ain't gonna get down on my knees and kiss your feet, or I ain't even gonna let nobody kiss my feet. That's sick. That's sick. That's sick for the person who will kiss another man's feet, and it's sick for the person who allows another man to kiss his feet. It's sick both ways.
You know, and that goes back to where we elevate these people to. And then when we elevate them to this position, they start feeling like they are. And like you said, when we saying they are God, we're speaking about it in the fairy tale point of view. We're not talking about the fact that we know who we are, that we all are our own creator and everything that manifests to us. You know, we know that. When I'm speaking about they thinking they're God, they thinking they're God. So when these people are crawling up and kissing their feet, they thinking they deserve it. You know, they're not looking at being, you know, they always told, oh, I'm a servant. Nah, they're not looking to be a servant, because they're the first one in that office crying that I'm not coming back if I don't get my raise. So they're not looking to be a servant of nobody. But yet, if somebody want to crawl up and kiss your feet, that's okay. These pastors are here because they're getting benefits out of it. No one is here because they've been anointed. Because if they're there because they were anointed, they first of all, they wouldn't be getting a salary, because I don't remember anywhere in the Bible that Jesus got paid for what he did. So I mean, when he sent his disciples, his apostles out to the towns and said spread the word, he told them to take no payment. I mean, am I saying something wrong here? He told them to take no payment. So these preachers aren't up here because they're anointed. They didn't get up there because they got anointed. They got up there because they're getting something out of it. I'm not talking about the back home country preacher, but even the back home country preacher, when the slave preacher came, when the Africans that were made slaves, when they were the elevated, and I use that term for understanding because it's not an elevation, when they were elevated to be able to preach from that slave Bible to the other slaves, it was it was a benefit for them. They got extra rations. They got treated a little different. Maybe they got to come out of the field a little more early. They got to read, taught to read a book a little. They got they didn't come up there because the first black preacher did not come because of no anointing. So none of these preachers that's up there now can say they came, oh, God called me to do that, but yet you got to go and get your theology degree to understand the word of God. So where's the calling, bro? Why can't he tell you? Why can't he decipher it? From what I can say, you should be able to put the word of God away, put that under the pulpit, and just tell me what thus says the Lord, because you're anointed, you've been called. But it's never like that. It's a benefit behind it. You negotiating a contract. You trying to find out what your salary is going to be this year, because the church is going to pay your health insurance. My pastor walked out for 2 months because we couldn't afford to pay his health insurance. But yet he was called by God. So he had to go and pray on this thing here. And he said, yo, I'm not going to come back to church anymore because I'm not getting benefits. But the sister that's in the back row dying of cancer, put it in the Lord's hand. Let God solve it. Where's your faith? Ye of little faith, where's your faith? But yet the man that's supposed to be having a main connection to the man, remember, who was it? Not Bernie Mac, the man next to the man, remember, who was it? Anyway, but he's supposed who was it, Rick?
I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. Somebody in the
The
chat
man
probably
next
knows.
to the man that called my piano player, piccolo player. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Same man that did Baby Kids. But anyway, he's supposed to be the man that has the main connection to the man, and he walking out of the church because we not paying his health insurance. So where's his faith? And besides his faith, let's go back to the point that he is preying on the congregation. He's getting a benefit out of this. He's not doing it because he was called to do it, bro. He's not.
Yep. You're right on time. Like that is exactly right. Like without he shouldn't even care. He should and I'm not we're not lumping everybody. There's no all of anything. There's some guys out there, some pastors out there that's doing the right things. They are resisting temptation. They are working out in the community. They are, doing everything that they're supposed to do. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, like there's more. I think there's more out there who are not doing the right things, and those who are just like going along with the religious programming, that's detrimental too. So you ain't got to be manipulating and abusing people and abusing your authority to do damage to your people. You know what I'm saying? Like she says, you have your people lost. They don't know who they are. They are identifying with a group of people who are not their people. They can't pronounce the names of, like if you ask the person to name all 12 tribes of Israel, they wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, so they just don't know anything about their own book. I give you an example. My son's name is Isaiah. The prophet Isaiah is in the book of Acts, okay, like several times, over in the book of Matthew too. Nobody knows my son's name comes from the Bible. Like it's in the New Testament several times. It's just Greek for or Latin for Isaiah. So but every time I tell someone my son's name, they're like, well, where'd you get that name from? I'm like, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Okay, so that's how much of a religious fanatic I was. I named my son a Bible. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that name their kids after Bible characters. Okay, so I'm not the only one. Okay, so but what you were saying was like, these preachers are getting paid. If you don't come with that money, they ain't preaching no sermon. Okay, so their own book tells them that they are a hireling. Okay, so that makes you a hireling. It says that the gospel is to be preached for free, no charge. Okay. And then and also like after during Reconstruction, in the book Up from Slavery, Booker T. Washington made a point. He says a lot of people, because they have been worked so hard, that they have been tired of, just all this hard forced labor, that right after slavery, a lot of people became preachers because it was just an easier lifestyle. You ain't got to work, you ain't got to toil, you ain't got to labor anymore. Now you can just build you a little church and people give you donations, and that's how you make a living. So he's like, a lot of these preachers couldn't even read. They couldn't even read the Bible. So he was like, it was just a way for people to live an easy lifestyle, because not that so much that they were lazy. It's just that you done work 10, 12-hour days and no days off, like you've been worked half to death. I can understand. You like, man, I'm tired of working. I don't want to work no more. You see what I'm saying? And so this was an easy transition into an easier lifestyle. So if you well read, you'll understand this. But that kind of goes exactly with your point. So do you have anything else to add, Queen Vanessa? Because we over an hour here, so I'm getting ready to wrap this up. But before we go, we're gonna get our boy Lishan in here. He reached out to me, so he wanted to join the conversation. So we're gonna try to get him in here before we wrap this up. You might have
Had
you might be on mute. Okay.
No, I had to plug the phone in.
Okay.
So excuse all the movement and different poses y'all saw me doing. I wasn't voguing. I just had to plug the phone in. No, I think, we can go on this subject forever. So I mean, it's I don't know. I think I'm slowing down. It says poor network connection, but it's probably because my battery's dying. But so I'm gonna let you close it up. I think I pretty much said what's on my mind. But I mean, there's so much more to be said. There's so much more to be said. But I can say one thing to close it up. When the consensus comes down, I don't agree that pastors are praying. And you say that there's good ones, and it is. It's, I mean, of course. I mean, we shouldn't even have to say that. It's just like saying there's good white people out there. Of course it is. We're not, when we talk about racism, we're not talking about all white people. It is understood. And so it's the same understanding that we say when what we're talking about now, we're not talking about every preacher and every pastor. So, but the bottom line is, if it was being done right, it would be more of an impact in the community. So it's more praying with like you said, the lion crawling through the field. It's more praying than it is with their hands together praying, even though that don't do nothing either. But I'm gonna let you bring Brother LaShawn in.
Okay. Well, I definitely thank you for being a part of this conversation and adding, man, your experience and just all of that good knowledge and that divine feminine energy that you brought to the conversation. I know y'all tired of just seeing my mug on here every week, but it's just good to see a beautiful young face, and hopefully we can get some more people in here to give others the courage to come on. Again, like I say, the doors of the conscious community are open. The doors of To Awokeness are open. Okay, so if you want to come out, if you just want some encouragement to talk to your family or let your family know that you no longer subscribe to this religious programming, just inbox me, Ricky Swink, on Facebook, and of course on YouTube it's going to be the True Factory, and then also we got BD Evolution is the page here, so reach out. And then let me see, Lishan, well, I sent you the link, bro. You gonna come in? Let me see what Lishan doing in the chat, because it's been a while since I've been in the chat, so let me say hello to some more people that has come in. Dre, what's going on, man? How you doing, man? I see you in the chat. What's going on, Carl? Okay, so Kevin is in the chat. Well, he was. I don't know if he's if he's out right now. But Ricardo, how you doing? Anthony. All right, Mark Anthony. I think I said hello to you earlier. I did. Let me see. Going through the chat here. Okay, it looks like Lishan's coming in. What's going on, brother? I think you might have me muted, Lishan.
Hey man, peace everybody.
Okay,
Can y'all
what's
hear?
going on,
Mic
brother?
check, mic check.
All right, we can hear you, brother.
Okay. One more time. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Lee. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll
What's
come
on your
out
mind?
to all the kings and queens and gods and goddesses and all that. Um, it's a great show. Yeah, I put on a great show tonight, and special thanks to um, Goddess Vanessa Dixon for coming in and telling us her story. And I want to say much love to all the people that's in the chat and all the people on Facebook that chimed in. And you know, what I want to say is that pastors do more praying due to the fact that they're trying to gain and they are gaining revenue from the people, but not they're not putting the revenue in the right places. You dig? Um, my thing is this here, man, is that when you mentioned Paul. Yeah, you're right. Paul is you know, like you said, he's an allegorical character in the first place. But yeah, Paul had tricked people. And one of the things I want to address to everybody, and I said this a few weeks ago a couple of times, that there's a passage in there saying that all who believes in Jesus and all who believe in the blood are saved, no matter if you are a Jew or Gentile. But what people don't realize and don't know, they don't know who the Gentiles are. You know, the Gentiles are not us, melanated dark people. You know, that's what a lot of people don't realize. But the fact still remains that programming is real. When the programming is real, that's when the raising and the indoctrinated comes in there from the mothers, grandmothers, greats, and ancestors, not ancestors, but foremothers and forefathers. Um, so the pastor do praise PREY on people more than they PRAY, because when they PRAY, all they're doing is just molding everybody to be indoctrinated to the weekly teachings of this Jesus and this God. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes down to what's that 7-year-old dude y'all was talking about? Look here.
Oh, the 7-year-old preacher.
Yeah, that 7-year-old preacher, man. You know what? I'm not. You know what? I'm not even surprised, because when I became conscious, man, I wasn't. I stopped being surprised at a lot of stuff. You know, anything that goes on within any religion, like Miss Vanessa mentioned about the denomination. You have over 30,000 denominations, and you have over 4,200 plus different religions. You know what I'm saying? And then what a lot of folks don't know, they got a Queen James Bible out. If you can look on Amazon, and they have it on Amazon, the Queen James Bible. That's for the LGBT community. So that's another religion added to the 4,200 plus. You know what I'm saying? But I know y'all been over an hour, man. But I want to say this. I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna get off, because there's a lot of people that has became conscious and they have stories to tell. But mine in particular was my mother had departed back in '96, and that's when I went into Christianity. And over the years with my dad, and he departed back in 2012. Now, remind now, he had everybody in the church, everybody in the family, everybody around him, friends, co-workers, praying, fasting. You know what I'm saying? And we all thought he was gonna pull through, because we believed that this Jesus was gonna come through. So when he had departed, that's when I started fact checking. That's when I started asking questions, and it all made sense that the people that told me back then about the opposition of the religion was right. And ever since then, I've been free. You know, I say all that to say this: everybody that has been free, you're really free. You're at peace with yourself. A lot of people that's in the comments said the same thing. Know yourself and have religion with yourself, and you cannot come out better than that. But my brother, that's all I had wanted to say, man. I know you've been over your time period, but I really, I'm gonna get with you later on this week, and I'm gonna say this again, like I said last week. Uh, reach out to our brother Kevin Wesley, man. He's really having some challenges, and we as a people, and has to reach out. No, we are, like you said, Ricky, the only God you need is us, you know what I'm saying? And the God in us is you. You know, we have to, come into an existence of the helping each other out, and that way we can overcome the obstacles that these religious folks are praying for, you know.
Yes, sir.
That's all I really want to say, man. And a guy in the chat asked for Kevin Wesley's link again for
His
the
Cash
Cash
App.
App and
Yeah, yeah.
PayPal and all that.
It's dollar sign Kevin D Wesley one. Whoever's in the chat needed that Cash App information. I'll go ahead and post it here, man. But man, I appreciate you coming in, Lee Sean, man, and sharing the information with the people. And then I just want to kind of go back in the chat really quickly, and then just acknowledge some people in the chat that I didn't get to say hello to. I see a few names in here that I'm familiar with. Just want to acknowledge the people before we kind of get out of here. Michael Simmons, hello King. Tasmania music. I don't know if you've been in here before, but that's the first time I seen you. But welcome to the show. We got Joey B, Little Warrior. How you doing? Okay, we got Future. We got Garland. What's going on, King? All right, we got Riri, the True Elohim. All right, Elohim. Okay, all right. All right, so let me see who else in here. Terry, how you doing? Thanks for the donation. Trish, how are you? Okay, we got James Johnson. Okay, who knew 213? Okay, let's see who else we got in here that we didn't say hello to. Black Caesar, what's going on? King O'Rainey. All right, all right. Okay, so Enrique, hello. Let me see who else we got going on. Okay, Sec Tech, hey Rue, I know I saw you in there earlier, man. What's going on? I didn't acknowledge you. Brenda, how you doing? All right, Sundale, brother, what's going on? How you doing? All right, let me see who else in here. All right, who else we got? All right, man, y'all. Claudia on the media moderation. How you doing, Keith? Messenger, HD Fats, Papa. What's going on? So if I missed anyone, I do apologize. Let me see. I think I see one more name here, man. Y'all had that chat like lit up tonight. Okay, so y'all was in there talking about some things tonight, boy. All right, so that's how you do it. Let me go over here on Facebook real quick, cause. And again, I apologize for us getting started late tonight, but we did have those technical difficulties. Let me go over here on Facebook real quick and acknowledge some of the people who came in when the show got started. Okay, Joan, how you doing? Kevin Anderson, what's going on, King? All right, so let me see who else we got up in here tonight. On the Facebook chat, okay, Benjamin Mathis, all right, Garland on both sides on YouTube and on Facebook, just showing all of that strong support and love. And then we have a couple more people on both platforms. I know the boy Andre is on both sides. So some of the comments I can no longer see. So if I missed anyone, I do apologize. for not acknowledging your name. Try to get everybody in there, but I thank you for your support. I thank you for the energy. And again, man, shout out to Kevin, man, for creating this platform for us to have a place where we do have support, because I know, dealing with religion and coming out of religion is a touchy subject. I have actually done a lot to remove, religion from the minds and the hearts of anybody that I know, and all of my friends, and pretty much most of my friends and family. I have like completely decimated. Not on purpose though. I know some people you can have conversations with, and some people you don't. But I kind of drop gems here and there that they can't deny. You know what I mean? So again. Next week we'll be back. Hopefully we'll have Kevin on. If not, then I will be here. The doors of the conscious community are open. If you want to be on the show, please reach out. The only thing I ask is that just respect the platform. Well, of course we are adults, but you just want to respect the brother's platform. Watch the language, if you can, because there may be young children or people watching it with their family. So just want to be respectful of the show. But I'm not telling anyone how to talk or how to speak. But just be mindful of that. Reach out to me if we can get you in on a topic or something like that, or if there is a topic that you would like discussed or that you want to hear about. Leave it in the chat. I always go back and look at that information and get ideas from you, the people, because it's all about you. You are the most important. So I'm not going to hold you any longer, family. Again, bdevolution.org. Go there, support our brother. The cool shirts, the apparel, backpacks, and hoodies. The weather is changing. It's getting a little nippy out. So we need to get those hoodies, Evolve, and some other hoodies available on bdevolution.org. You may want to go by the site and check it out. And then also, I've already indicated you can just go back and get the information on how to give to our brother. But like Kevin always says, a candle does not lose its flame by lighting another. Again, shout out to the Lighthouse, man. Doing big things over there. The Lighthouse family always in here, always supporting. Just want to acknowledge each and every one of the Lighthouse members who watch the show, who support the show. Again, shout out to the Lighthouse family. Okay, you know what I always say: the only gods that we need is each other, and the only God that I'll ever need is you. We out.